Grace to you, beloved, and I trust that you are doing well in the Lord today. Welcome to the Bible study session today, and today I'll be considering Matthew chapter 5 from verses 33 to 42. Yesterday we looked at the topic of adultery, marriage, and how sacred it is, how God meant it to be a mirror that reflects His love for the church, and how long lasting that should be. Okay, and so today we're considering from verses 33, and I'll just start. So, verse 33 again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to the Lord. Verse 34, but I say to you, do not swear at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Verse 36, nor shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. Verse 37, but let your yes be yes, and your no, no. For whatever is more than this is from the evil one. Then verse 38, you have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. 39, but I tell you, do not resist an evil person, but whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also. Verse 40, if anyone wants to sue you and take away your tunic, let him have your cloak also. Then verse 41, and whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Then verse 42, give to him who asks you, and from him who wants to borrow from you, do not turn away. Now, Jesus is addressing the topic of oaths and forbearance that we ought to have as Christians. Now, verse 33 is a quotation again, a reference from the Old Testament. Again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform your oaths to the Lord. And that seems to suggest that it was permissible to swear in the Old Testament, right? Now, this is a reference to the Ten Commandments, one of the Ten Commandments in Exodus 20, verse 16, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Jesus is referring to what was given in the Ten Commandments, right? But again, he amplifies it and say in verse 34, but I say to you, do not swear at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king, nor shall you swear by your head, because you cannot make one hair white or black. Now, Jesus forbids the swearing or the taking of oaths. And now you see, we are living in a very fallen world where people's yes is never yes, people's no is never no, right? And so the courts of law wants to authenticate that whatever you're telling us is true by asking you to swear. But now Jesus tells us here, do not swear. Do not swear by heaven, do not swear by earth, do not swear by Jerusalem, do not even swear by your head, because you have no authority over yourself. You can't make one hair white or black, right? So he concludes in verse 37 and says, but let your yes be yes and your no, no, for whatever is more than this is from the evil one. Now Jesus asks us to be people of our word. Whatever we said is the truth, right? When I say yes, it is yes, just as it sounds yes, right? And when it's no longer that and I'm saying yes, then Jesus tells us that this comes from the evil one. So, as a Christian community, we ought to cultivate the truthfulness in ourselves, right? So that whatever we say is yes, is yes just way, okay? Then in verse 38, you have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Now, Jesus gives the context and Jesus refers this from the Old Testament, and I would want us to look at these verses The first one is from Exodus chapter 21, verse 24. Just to get the context that comes here with an eye for an eye. And chapter 21, Exodus, from verses 22, it says, "If men fight and hurt a woman with a child, so that she gives birth prematurely, yet no harm follows, he shall surely be punished accordingly as the woman's husband imposes on him, and he shall pay for the judges. He shall pay as the judges determine." Verse 23. "But if any harm follows, then you shall give life for life." 24. "Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot." 25. "Burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe." You would receive exactly what you inflicted on that woman, right? When two people are fighting and they cause a harm on a woman, they would do whatever they did to that woman would exactly be done to them. If they gouged out her eye, exactly their eye would be gouged out. Then another reference is from Leviticus chapter 24, verse 20. And from verses 19 it says, "If a man causes disfigurement of his neighbor, as he has done, so shall it be done to him." 20. "Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, as he has caused disfigurement of a man, so shall it be done to him." 21. "And whoever kills an animal shall restore it, but whoever kills a man shall be put to death." So life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, right? Disfigurement for disfigurement. When you fracture someone, you also receive a fracture, you yourself. Then lastly, from Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 21. And from verses 18 it says, "And the judges shall make careful inquiry, and indeed, if the witness is a false witness, who has testified falsely against his brother." 19. "Then you shall do to him as he thought to have done to his brother. So you shall put away the evil from among you." 20. "And those who remain shall hear and fear, and hereafter they shall not again commit such evil among you." Verse 21. "Your eye shall not pity, life shall be for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot." So whatever a false witness sought to be done against the brother that he is bearing the false accusation against, the same shall be done for him. If he sought the brother to be killed, he shall be killed himself, right? Now Jesus here says, "But I tell you," in verse 39, "but I tell you not to resist an evil person, but whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also." Verse 40, "If anyone wants to sue you and take away your tunic, let him have your cloak also. And whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him too," right? Now this points out to the patience that we ought to have with people, both believers and non-believers, as we sought for their best, as we seek for their best, right? Now, when you want the best for your neighbor, then even though they wanted to kill you, you don't want to see them killed, because that is not the best for them, right? The best may be that they be convicted in a court of law and they reform with time, right? The best approach would be that you give them a chance for reformation, right? Now, you do not resist them. You do not do as it was said in the old, right? You remember the greatest commandments in Matthew chapter 22 from verses 37 to 40. After loving the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength, love your neighbor as yourself. When you don't want to see yourself dead, then you also don't want to see your neighbor whom you love as yourself dead, right? Even though they are planning evil for you, you take that humble humility, you clothe yourself with humility and plead with God for their reformation, right? And you show patience and kindness to them as God reforms their heart day by day. And lastly, in verse 42, give to him who asks you, and from him who wants to borrow from you, do not turn away. When you're in a position to help out someone, then you do not want to delay your help to them, right? You do not want to withhold something that you are able to give them, something that you are able to give a hand, right? And that is what Jesus encourages us here. Um, who From him who wants to borrow from you, do not turn away. When you are in that position to give whatever help those people need, you freely give, right? Now we've come to the end of today's Bible study session as we continue to see at how Jesus magnifies the love of God and how he explains it to us. And today I'd like you to also meditate upon the words of an old hymn which says, Lord, I want to be a Christian in my heart. Not just on the outside, but let it start from deep within the heart. And when it starts from the heart, then it will automatically even manifest outwardly, right? And so I hope that is your prayer too. And if you find this resourceful, kindly share out with your friends. I'm very thankful for the support that you give and for continuing to be faithful in following through these episodes. And until we meet next time, peace to you in Christ. Grace to you, beloved. Keep loving God and keep loving man. Bye for now.